This is a book of prints by the Dutch artist Cornelis Escher. Probably more than any other artist of the 20th century, he made us reassess the way we perceive the world, the physical world. That's quite a feat, because we've actually got a very sophisticated perception system. We can distinguish millions of shades of color, as well as 10,000 smells. We can feel a feather as it brushes our skin. We can hear the faint rustle of a leaf. We can recognize a friend instantly. It all seems so effortless. We open our eyes or ears and let the world stream in. But there are limits. We can't see light in the ultraviolet range, though bees can. We can't detect light in the infrared range, though rattlesnakes can. Our nervous system reacts only to a selected range of wavelengths, vibrations, and other properties. Our perception is limited by our genes, as well as our previous experience and current state of attention, by the way. Cornelis Escher made us totally rethink how we perceive the physical, but we still have a long way to go when it comes to our perceptive abilities and people. It's all too easy to assume, to suppose, to guess. At Microsoft, you have the daunting task of recognizing and understanding millions of people, your customers. Who are they? What do they think? What do they do? What do they want? Our next speaker is just one of those many millions, but he has a real and powerful story to tell. Be prepared to have a few perceptions changed. Ladies and gentlemen, the customer's story.
Tell me, who do you think you see? You're standing in your corner looking out on me. You think I'm so predictable. Tell me, who do you think I am? Looks can be deceiving, better guess again. Tell me what you see when you look at me.
Thanks, that was brilliant, guys. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm here today to talk to you partly about connections, but not the electronic kind. Mobile phones, the internet, and text messaging are all phenomena that go to show just how much we want to be in touch with and touched by the presence of others. We're all communicators, and we're often involved in communication, even when it feels like we're on our own. So that in every syntax of programming, every spreadsheet and Word document we create, all these things are in the service of communication. Now, some of you may have thought when I came on stage just then that I was going to fit neatly into the computers help the disabled slot. No, I'm here as a communicator and a multi-level computer user, and if anything else, I'm partly here today to give you a taste of just how difficult it is to pigeonhole your customers. You see, I do have a disability, and I use computers, but that's as far as it goes in my opinion. I feel that part of learning to see what's real is realizing that there's so much that cannot be seen or understood easily. Sorry, I can see that I'm beginning to pigeonhole myself into a disabled Zen computer master, when in fact, I'm just a DOS-abled PC user. Now, I don't like to call myself a computer expert because such a term is so relative. There are plenty of people here today that would make me look like a beginner. But I've always been a bit of a gadget man, and computers for some are just that, only gadgets. To me, though, there's something far more powerful within the relationship between humans and computers than, say, a new TV or car. The difference is that computers have the ability to provide access and enhance communication between humans. I believe it's important to remember that we are not human doings, we are human beings. We're social animals, and we mainly love to be with others throughout our lives. So within this context, here's my story. My first serious contact with computers was back in 1982, when I got a ZX81. I learnt BASIC and spent time studying machine code, but then I was off to art college, where I was the only student on our course who had a computer. I did some work at the time with animated graphics and computer drawings, and in 1987, I stepped up to an Atari 1040. Now, some people buy software to help them with the projects they're already involved in. However, it's often the case that software leads us from a linear pathway to new, exciting, and interesting places. Now, the Atari had an inbuilt facility to control electronic musical devices. And because an opportunity arose for me to buy a keyboard, which I could control using the computer, I started to write and record songs. And since then, I've written a great number of songs. And although, as you can probably tell, I've not become a pop star, I have been able to create things which I would never have been able to without a computer. But music, like love, rarely pays the bills. So when it came to meeting mortgage payments, it was time to put some of that knowledge to use. So I then got involved in computer sales and support. Now, I'd just like to tell you that I've got a bit of a bone to pick with you lot on this front. Ever since Windows XP, I've hardly had any calls asking for me to sort out people's computers. Please, put some bugs back in. Otherwise, me and the kids are going to starve, Gov. Now, as you're beginning to see, just like most of you probably, I use software on many levels. So far, we've covered art, music, and work. But I also use computers for many other things. For instance, I use them for creative and journalistic writing. Here's a quick plug. If you'd like to take a look at simonsdiary.com later, you'll be able to see some of it. And whilst I'm into personal promotion, I'd just like to mention that I wrote the Christmas card poem this year. If you'd all like to say, ooh, that would be quite good now. Oh, thank you. Very impressive thing. There are other obvious things like using the internet and email, but I'm also a website designer. You know, art plus computers equals website designer. Always. And I write an online travel diary, which is also at simonsdiary.com. Write it down. For the last few years now, there's been less and less work because Windows is working so well. So my main business has turned to tutoring. I mainly work with adults, both in adult education centres and in the community, including work with homeless people and silver surfers. I cover areas such as introducing people to computers, learning how to use Office, the internet, email, and general topics like computer graphics, music, and writing. And this can be from people who want to dip their toes into the ICT pond to those who want to get qualifications and work in it. Tutoring has been one of the most fun jobs I've ever done. People come from all walks of life and different backgrounds, and it often feels like a social event rather than work. Now, I'd like to be able to say that I build up people's confidence, break down their fear of technology and all that stuff, but really it's just the communication I have with all these different people that ticks my talk. Like I said earlier, it's all about communication. In the past, not only were there very few people who had access to information, but of that group, there was only a small percentage who had the incentive to change the way the world thought. Nowadays, hundreds of millions of people have access to information and each other, and of them, a far greater proportion want to change the world. But there's one little snag: computer games. I can see it in some of your eyes. You're addicted, aren't you? Now, if that's true, then like me, you love computer games too. Now, I've got 3 kids, and computer games are a fantastic opportunity for us to get together and share some common ground. They're into computer games, especially Halo on the Xbox, and if any of you know that game, you'll know that it's possible for 2 players to play on the same team against a computer. Now, it's been very interesting watching them play together as a team, although occasionally they do end up killing each other. That's virtually, thank God, just for the fun of it. I myself love playing online interactive games, especially as part of a team. You see, I wasn't first in line to get picked for teams when I was a kid, but now with the anonymity of playing online, I get selected for my skills rather than what I look like. The experience of being part of a team was new to me at first and may not have been something I'd have known without computers and the internet. The thing is with online games, there's far more to it than just playing games. Through them, you can build up relationships with other real people you play with. Well, at least they tell me they're real. So whether it's work, fun, art, or writing music, poems, and books, for me, the potential of the PC lies in its ability to aid and enhance communication. And on a more personal note, I suppose the best thing about Microsoft software is that it has given me the ability to communicate with so many people and make connections in ways which weren't ever possible before, including speaking with you today. I guess that's what achieving potential is all about. Perhaps I could finish by giving you a quick example. Recently, I was in an internet cafe in Atlanta Airport, and I was talking to a woman who managed musical artists over there. I told her that I wrote music, and she was interested to know more. Now, because I had my laptop with me, she was able to listen to some of my songs and watch a pop video I'd made. She asked if I could send her a copy, but as I had a blank CDR with me, I burned a CD for her there and then. She later emailed me to say that she was so impressed that she wanted to promote it. Now, I'm not going to hold my breath waiting for that call or give up my day job just yet, but the thing is with connections, they have a life of their own, and who knows what may come of that meeting. Likewise, it's the same with connections that you make to customers. It's hard to overestimate the profound effect your connections are having on people's lives. You see, somewhere in my communication with you today lie connections that many of you have made with me without either of us knowing a relationship ever took place. But it did. So thanks so much. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.